Skip it up and that up.
So because Sony and Microsoft have been purposely vague, which either means they're going to drop a super affordable price bomb with their next-gen consoles, or it means they're going to be more expensive than we think they're going to be, both Sony and Microsoft haven't really talked about price. They haven't even hinted about price. I think at best we got, it'll appeal to the masses, and I'm paraphrasing, which nowadays can mean the Xbox One X launched at $500, so Lord knows what that means. But what was interesting, and he always gives me ideas for videos, is Solid Rev.
What an absolute joke!
On Twitter, I actually wrote this. Sony's CEO Jim Ryan wants 2020 to be the year of the PS5. That might mean a lower price point to incentivize consumers. What's the most you'd be willing to spend on Sony's next-gen console? Is there a price where you would feel you have to buy it? And Rev responded with this. Actually, the cheaper it is, the less I'd want it. $400 says to me, hi, I'm a weak-ass piece of, just like my older brother, the PS4 Pro. Which, I'll give him credit where credit's due. The PS4 Pro was somewhat underwhelming. I mean, it definitely reinvigorated the PS4 generation or the 8th generation for Sony. It made it more powerful and we got checkerboard rendering, but there's a lot of times that the Xbox One X could run a game either at a higher resolution or native 4K and the PS4 Pro can't. So, yeah, the PS4 Pro was a little bit of a disappointment. But let's talk specs first for a second. I know I've went over them before. I'm going to do the Cliff Notes version this time and not keep you guys for 20 minutes. We know that they're going to use Zen 2 in both the next-gen Xbox and PlayStation 5. Zen 2 is a beast of an architecture. I own, granted, the chips run as hot as the goddamn sun, but they're powerful, okay? Whether it comes to video editing, gaming, they're great chips. I'm excited that that's what's being input into the next-gen systems from Sony and Microsoft. We're getting AMD Navi with built-in ray tracing hardware in both next-gen systems from the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Scarlett. Both are going to have SSDs. They're going to be able to output in 8K. We're not gaming in 8K, let's keep it real, but they can upscale to 8K. They're going to both have Blu-ray drives. They're both going to be beastly systems. It's a much better jump this generation to the next one than we got from the 7th generation to the 8th generation. I don't think anyone will argue that. Now, could the PlayStation 5 and next Xbox, the Scarlett, launch at $400? Maybe they'll drop a price bomb, like I said, and be like, hey, we're going to take a loss. We know these systems are going to be popular. If we launch them at a low price and take a loss, we'll get the money back we'll recoup the money and make profit over time with the game licenses. And when we make the fabrication process of the next-gen consoles cheaper, we'll be able to profit more, or there'll be less of a loss in the next-gen systems. And they may do that. So, Rev, my point being is just because, say Mark Cerny comes out on stage and he's like, the PlayStation 5, hopefully only one SKU, please no Pro SKU and regular SKU, Sony. The PlayStation 5 is going to be an affordable $400. It doesn't mean it sucks. What it means is Sony's saying, hey, we're taking a loss because we want to get more PS5s in people's homes right away. And we put beastly tech in there, but we know we'll mitigate the loss with software licenses and software sales, and we'll make profit over time. My point being is that if they come out and say that the Scarlett and PS5 are shockingly cheap, don't necessarily be disappointed. With the specs that we know that are confirmed, they aren't going to suck. They're going to be fairly impressive consoles. So if the PS5 and Scarlett are more affordable than you thought, it doesn't mean they're going to be disappointing pieces of hardware like the PS4 and Xbox One were when they launched. Because like I always say, even from out of the gate, those were anemic consoles. And that's why we got a Pro. And that's why we got an Xbox One X. Because they had, imagine you were still using only the base PS4 and base Xbox One/S in 2019, where they could both barely run games. It would be embarrassing. That's why there was a Pro and an Xbox One X. So it may be what they're going to do, man. They may be smart, take the loss, and if they launch the PS5 and Scarlett at $400, they will fly off shelves. And even if they take the loss, they'll be like cha-ching with all the licensing they're going to get from third-party devs, and they're going to make off of software, and that may be a smart move to do. So Rev, my point being is, don't sleep on these consoles even if the price is low, because it may not be because it's weak tech in there. They may be willing, Sony and Microsoft, to take the loss to make sure there's a bigger install base quicker, instead of waiting and launching the consoles at an astronomically high price where more people will be hesitant to buy them. Keep that in mind before you sleep on them, Rev. This is Rich of Review Tech USA signing out. Have a good one.
What an absolute joke!